This production is supported using public funding by Arts Council England. Welcome to another episode of the Bhandwagon Podcast, and today my guest is someone to watch out for the future, multi-talented, involved in various aspects of his musical journey, but also the kind of industry behind it. Without further ado, welcome to Yxng Sxngh.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me. I'm honoured to be here.
You're Yxng Sxngh, but a very tall guy.
Yeah, 6'4".
That was probably the easiest handshake that I've ever done. But you just said you're 6'4".
6'4". Blessing and a curse.
Why is it a curse?
So the issue I found, especially within the Punjabi music industry, no hate to anyone, but a lot of my counterparts in the past have been quite a lot smaller than me or shorter than me. So when it comes to doing music videos, it becomes quite an issue when we're trying to do takes together, because at that point there's a very clear height difference.
So what do you have to do? You have to crawl down, or you have to get them on crates?
Now, most of the time I just won't jump in a shot with them. I'll have my own shots. If you notice in a lot of the music videos, I've just got my own shots going on pretty much.
Yeah. The name Yxng Sxngh, let me just start on that. Like, what's behind that? What the name?
I can't lie, it was a joke, the name was. So when I've never ever had any plans of coming into the music industry. So it started off when I think we were like mid-lockdown. I was just on COD with the lads. I had like a thing in my mind of two songs kept playing, mixed together. And I was trying to search everywhere, and it's like I'd never heard this mix before. I did a GCSE in music. I knew a little bit of kind of like putting music together.
Was there any music in the family? Like, is there any one side that anybody involved?
So not kind of like directly. There's links to music here and there, but like kind of every Asian family, every Punjabi family has like links. Kind of for me, growing up, my dad was a massive fan of the Sahotas. My dad was a massive fan of Punjabi music. We kind of have family links to Jazzy B, so kind of in my childhood, kind of seeing Jazzy B being in and around that was quite frequent for me. So I think that developed my interest as a fan, but never really to the point where, I really, really want to do this and I want to make a career out of it. Kind of, when I was 15 or 16, I had the thoughts of, it would be sick, let me do this. But my mum shut it down straight away and said, you're going to uni, you're going to get a proper job and all of that. So during COVID, we were just at a time, I heard these two songs playing in my head, and my boy's like, bro, you know how to make music a little bit, just make it. I made it, played it to my boys, and then I was like, yo, this is sick. Then they were like, put it on SoundCloud. I was like, all right, cool, I need a name. I ain't gonna put it under my proper name, because I thought if it flopped, it's my bestie then, isn't it? Like, I'm not putting my real name to it. So I didn't put my face to it, didn't put my name to it. I was just there with my cousin. I was like, bro, I need a name. And bro, just as a joke, I was like, you know what, Yxng Sxngh, bro, because it's like in English music, there's a lot of young this, young Bane and stuff like that. So I thought, you know what, there's a young Bane, so I'll put Yxng Sxngh and I'll whack an X in there just to take the piss a little bit. And then suddenly, bro, like a career launched off the back of it, and the name's just kind of stuck at this point.
But you also used to wear a mask, is that right? Is that? Did you kind of, when you launched, were you having the mask at the same time, or did you put it on after?
Nah, so first I launched faceless. There was no kind of pictures or anything. Then it came to the time where I started making music, and there were music videos, and I was like, it was always a fear of self-doubt that my shit ain't gonna bang, no one's gonna like it, no one's gonna want to listen to it. Meri besti honi hai baad sare ne mainu kehna, this guy tried to do music and it didn't work out. So the mask was very much of, I don't want to show people who it is. I want to add a little bit of mystery. I come from kind of, career-wise, I come from a marketing background. No one was really doing this stuff in the Punjabi music industry. I looked at people like M. Huncho and thought, you know what, maybe there's a little bit of a market here. So it's kind of like, it was like a double-edged sword, really. It was like, right, cool. A, I'm not trying to get my face out there, my identity. And B, I just want to do something mysterious. I want to do something which is different and kind of walk a separate path to other artists.
Yeah. You know, when you were wearing the mask and when you was doing well, did you get anyone else trying to claim that it was them who was doing it?
Not that I know of.
Because that's what I would have done.
Yeah, nah, not that I know of.
But now I know you're 6'4", there was no chance that happening.
So a lot of people were surprised at my height back then. And there was one person, so throughout the whole time, it was such a kept secret that no one really outside my family, not that I was big time, I just didn't really tell anyone outside my family. It was only one guy, his name's Simon. He messaged me once, he's like, bro, I think you're Yxng Sxngh. I was like, what do you mean, bro? Who's that? I don't know who that guy is. But apart from that, it was like, Yeah, people never tried to claim it, but people always tried to claim they knew me. Or, oh yeah, we know who Yxng Sxngh is. We know who the face behind Yxng Sxngh. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, bro, like, I've never met you in my life. Like, there is no way you know who I am, kind of thing. But as far as I know, no one claimed to be me.
So how would you define your style? Because you look at your discography now and you look at everything that you kind of release. There's many different styles that you've incorporated. What's your favorite style in terms of when you're producing?
Probably like hip hop. I think I come from. My whole thing has been I want to be like a lugger from everyone else. I'm not trying to walk the same path that everyone else is walking.
Why is that then? Because like if you've got kind of a proven formula, it's quite, you know, when you look at an artist, or especially when I've interviewed a few, you will always kind of find out that an artist's best stuff is always there early. And it's very heavily, majority of the time, it's quite heavily influenced by somebody else or another kind of sound. But you know, you'll always get the outliners who would be just kind of like found their own pathway, got their own sound in there. But that's becoming harder and harder. Yeah. You know, was that the way that you wanted to go down? I know it's easy to say, that's what it was because it almost kind of panned like that way. But like, there was a pressure at the time with market. You know, you're only talking during COVID 3-4 years ago that there was a particular sound that started kicking in with trap and 808 and whatever it's going to be within it. Was that a pull to you?
I don't think so. It was very unplanned. The route that I went down to be different was I heard everything that was in the industry at the moment in terms of the UK. I've never really been in competition outside of the UK, but I like to stay in healthy competition within the UK in terms of producers, artists, and what people are making. And I heard at that time, and I was like, you know what? There is no UK artist that is making. So for me, I look up to AP Dillon a lot. I feel like AP's sound and what he did bringing trap into the Punjabi music scene was very much what I wanted to be able to do for the UK. So for me, it's like, right, cool. I don't want to do trap because AP's done it. Sidhu's killing it on hip hop, but why are there no UK proper producers that are coming up just on hip hop? Not Desi Hip Hop, just hip hop. And it was more kind of that, is like, right, cool. We have this. I used to love listening to hip hop music as a kid. Like, not anything in depth, but just big commercial songs. I used to listen to a range of music. There was a time I was into dubstep, there was a time I was into drill. I've always been into different genres, house, stuff like that. But for me, hip hop always stuck out to me. Things like, I think it was very West Coast hip hop kind of stuck out to me. And then there's obviously influences like Eminem, kind of that when Eminem was coming up, his sound was a bit different. And then obviously when he kind of, his stuff with Dre, there was a mix of things that were kind of going on. Kanye West, they were very big things for me in terms of developing musical interest. And for me, it's like, right, cool, let me take the little bit I know about hip hop and the little bit I know about music and try and make this into something which isn't a copy of AP, isn't a copy of Sidhu, is something completely fresh that someone can look at and be like, yo, that brother did something mad in the UK. That was kind of the reasoning behind it of, I want to be different because I want to be known to be different and not just doing standard Desi Bhangra hip hop. No disrespect to anyone who does it, but it's not my cup of tea.
I think a lot of Desi hip hop is kind of based on old school hip hop around it. So what you're saying, if I'm hearing it right, you wanted to just put kind of modern hip hop beats with it.
Modern hip hop beats without the Desi. It should be 90% hip hop, 10% Desi. Not kind of a hip hop beat with a GDR loop in there. It's not stuff like that I was going for. It's very much, right, cool. We might add like a Darbari flute in there somewhere. We might add like a Vajja piece in there somewhere. But even then, it was very restricted what I was doing. It was very much just, I want to get an authentic sound, but a sound which is kind of me as well. And it needs to suit me and what I'm about and my style. Because if I don't like it, why am I going to release it to the public? I don't want to make music that I don't like.
So where did you start to learn then? Did you
YouTube?
So you just completely just off YouTube, not stars or anything like that?
No stars. I've done GCSE in music, learnt all of King G Mao. That is as far as my musical education goes. What was quite big in order for me, the music producer goes by the name of Spacey, based in Oldbury. He was very instrumental to me in my career because when I was at a point where I was like, I wanted to get off doing mixes, I released 5 mixes, everyone was telling me, yo bro, you need to start releasing tunes now. He was the guy I went to at first and I was like, I don't have a clue what I'm doing, bro, I really need your help at this point. Because he'd release a song, Yarane Mitrande.
Yeah.
Massive tune. I love the percussion on it. And I was like, yeah, you know what? This guy knows what he's doing. Find out a little bit of information about him. And from there, it was very much, I would just sit in the room with him for hours and watch him on Logic. And I'd be like, bro, what did you just do there? Oh, why did you do that? And then I'd go home and he'd tell me, he'd set me homework. He'd be like, bro, go and learn about this, go and learn about that, go and learn about that. So then we did, probably like the first 5-6 songs of my career were kind of me and him co-produced. Co-produced to a point where I would sit there and be like, bro, we need this in there. And I would just fully observe how is he doing it until the point where I'd go home and be like, bro, I made this. What do you think about this? Almost like an Ustad, but it was never like a proper like, you're my Ustad. It was very much like a friendship that developed, where even to this day, he sends me all of his stuff that he's made and I send him all of my stuff and we give each other feedback.
What was the biggest challenges that you felt when you started making? Because like the song, because like, okay, you're learning it from Spacey, like from a musical point of view, but then you also got a background in marketing as well. So what was the challenges then that you got? Like you're a new artist, you come on the scene. What was the first major obstacles that you had?
I think on production, the obstacle I had on production was how do I make my sound different to Spacey's? I'm not trying to be a Spacey ripoff or make music like how he makes it. I'm trying to pave my own lane while also taking the things that he can provide my music. So that was on a production. I think the biggest thing when releasing was trying to get people to listen. Not to the music, but listen to me, to understand what this is all about. I was lucky and I was blessed that from day one I was picked up by the Asian Network. Bobby Friction played my first song from there, made really good relationships within the Asian Network. Brit Asia picked up quite easily by them. So I was lucky that people were listening to the music. But for me, coming from a marketing background, it's never the song, it's the brand. And Yxng Sxngh has never been just a person that releases music, it's a brand. Like, I don't consider myself as Yxng Sxngh. Yxng Sxngh is an entity in itself that is it's just a brand that people can look at and think, yeah, you know what, like, if it's got his name on it, that shit will bang. And it was just getting people to understand that and understand that it's not just about releases. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes. I'm not just a music producer. There's like 101 other things I'm doing, but I'm using the music production title to get my name out there the most, because if you're not a singer, the next best thing is a music producer. Lyricists aren't really seen in the same light. Video directors aren't seen in the same light. Even though I was chipping into the lyrics, even though I was directing the music videos myself, on my own label, self-funding it, it was like, right, cool, let me get the name out there.
What's your favourite specialism then? Because you are a lyricist, you are involved in producing. I'm trying to convince you at some point that you're a singer, but like you know what I mean. It's just like what's your favorite area where you feel comfort, your default position?
Video direction. I remember the day I learned. It used to be, Eddie, you might know. It used to be editing software, Sony Vegas. I was 13. I was 13.
I think I went back in time there for a second. Yeah.
So I was 13 years old at the time, learning Sony Vegas on YouTube when I was in school. We used to have, it was just on our phones, it was on my mum's phone. I used to have a phone when I was 13. I'd record videos on my mum's phone. Me and my sister, we'd record music videos at home. Like, we'd lip sync to songs. I remember we did one, Fritemu, PBN's Fritemu. I remember that's kind of the boldest memory I've got of something like that. Quickly ran to the computer. We shot like 5 different scenes around the house. And doing these fake music videos, somehow it just stayed etched in my head. Then I learned about Premiere Pro and I was like, right, cool. Then I started with kind of my career in marketing. I got in and around people who were actually producing video. Then I started learning off them and kind of, I'm a sponge. Put me in any environment and I'll sit there quietly. I'll be probably, if I don't know you, I'll be the quietest person in the room. Yeah. But I will look at everything, like today, I will look at everything you're doing. So tomorrow I'll be like, yeah, you know what, if I want to do a podcast, yeah, you know what, Ranjit does, he does this, and this. Yeah, that's what I can do.
I'll come back to you and say, yeah, just tell me what I did. Because sometimes it's a good point actually, because when you're starting out, like even a podcast, you learn on the way. I think the moment you turn around and say, yeah, I've absolutely nailed this, I think that's the day you should give up.
Yeah.
Because if you give up if you give up on the attitude of I don't need to learn anymore, I think it's over for you from
Yeah.
there. What do you, on that thought, what do you see the most common mistakes that happen, especially when it comes to music videos?
Russian. A is rushing, B is not thinking things out properly, which is a product of rushing. And I say that in the terms of, and I have this conversation a lot, I say to people like, if you don't have a budget to do a good music video, don't do a music video. It's not like you're doing your own basty by releasing a subpar music video if you don't have the money. The one is that, and one is, right, cool, what's your vision behind the music video? I like to believe that in every single one of the music videos you watch of mine, thought is put into it. You can have a look at just little details in the music video that just make sense.
Yeah.
And I'm watching a lot of music videos these days, especially coming out of the UK kind of music scene, Punjabi music scene, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's such wasted talent here. Like, you've got a sick song here. Either you shouldn't have done a video for it, or you should have put some proper thought behind it. It's not just going to your local car park and getting 3-4 sync shots with your boy C63. That's not music videos anymore. Guilty, I've done that, but in my music videos, there's also levels to what we've done. We've leveled that kind of thing up where it's more than just cars and car parks. There's other facets to it. There's other things that make it kind of authentic. Whereas now a lot of people are just looking at hood music videos and like, yeah, we can do that. We know there's a block down the road. We're going to get 4 of our boys to wear balaclavas and we're all going to jump on the block and we're all going to pretend like we're all part of gangs and everything. And it's like,
I'll be honest, when I see stuff like that, I'll just turn off.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I just know it's just like, it doesn't kind of relate.
Well, the issue is, but people are going to say that I'm guilty of doing this, but I feel like the difference is, and I think you'll know this as well, the difference is between, so I was brought up in Handsworth Wood, I went to Hampstead Hall School. I was kind of, you know you know the type of Bund you're around, you know the things you type, what weight people's parents were shifting.
I'm B21, so I'm proper Handsworth. Handsworth Wood is...
It's all right. It's all right. Like, obviously.
Handsworth Wood is basically.
Yeah, you're from the trenches.
Yeah, I'm from the hood. We did the graft.
Yeah.
You know, we put the cement down so people could stand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, but I'm just joking.
It's true though. But you know what it is, bro. In Handsworth Wood, it was very much. I was in and around people that they were basically at that point, but their parents had come from a background of not having that. So, bro, there's things that I've seen. There's like, I went to school. I remember there was a guy in my year who got knifed. He got stabbed in the neck. Luckily, he survived. But it's like, you're in and around stuff like that. You hear stories. I'm not about that life. I've never been about that life. But everything that we put in our videos and everything that people look at is not like, wow, these guys are so far removed from that. I put Bund in my music videos that are actually about that life. I go to blocks in my music video because I know Bund at that block kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where I've never, to this day, apart from one car, which is a Maybach, Nick Sahota's Maybach, I've never, apart from that, hired a car for a music video.
But are you worried that, like, okay, so I think in the I'm going to go 2000s really, when the first kind of videos come. There was a trend obviously where people kind of get ready-made videos done in Punjab.
Yeah.
Right, it's just box standard. It's on there, and all you're paying for is the actor and the actress to just mime over your bit. But the rest of it is just stock images or stock shots and video, and they'll just bunch it together. Yeah. And then you went through the phases. I'm talking very stereotypically. I'm not being negative on it. I'm just telling you, exactly what it was. Then it went through as a club. There's lads and girls in the background and the singer in the middle with all the producer, door players, and they're drinking around in like a VIP club section.
I know exactly what video you're on about.
No, but that was like, that's loads. As I was saying it, I remembered like eight videos in my head. Then it went to kind of like now stories being involved in videos a little bit. You know, there was actually kind of cinematography a little bit in there. Maybe the standard wasn't great within it. And then you just saw kind of a copying of what mainstream videos were doing, just a blatant kind of rip-offs and stuff like within it there. Do you think we will be able to get to a point where we're starting to own our own narrative? In terms that it doesn't necessarily need to be kind of reflective of mainstream. But then the key part for me is that, are you worried or does it come into your head is probably a better way, that when you're doing a video that you're worried about whatever the messaging that it puts out? Not to say that it's responsible for those behaviours of kids or adults, whoever's doing it, but you still, from your own point of view as an artist, what kind of message that you want to put out? Is it reflective of your music? is it reflective of your brand?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's two questions there. I think the answer to the first one is, I think the Punjabi music scene will always have to look to the mainstream in order to not take ideas, but to take inspiration. And the issue for that is any apna that becomes quite big within the Punjabi scene ditches the Punjabi scene. Anyone who smells a little bit of success elsewhere, they'll get out the Punjabi scene and they'll go take their amazing ideas elsewhere to other genres of music. And I think the issue with that is, I'm not sure why people do it, but it's very much an issue of, like, you could create a whole brand new style of music videos if you just stayed put in this industry, but you're not. You're going to go now into, you need to earn your roti and whatever, that's fine. But like, because of that, we will always look to other industries, the mainstream industry. Obviously now everyone's looking to the hip hop industry, especially within the UK. We're looking at like UK drill, UK trap, that kind of stuff. We're always going to look to that. But also, I don't think it's a bad thing, because I think we are elevating what we're doing and elevating our craft. If you look at before the genre of the UK came in, or before the genre of these style videos, the videos were very the same. Like you said, we were going to Punjab, whereas now Punjab is coming to us. Like Sidhu doing however many videos he did in the UK was a massive testament to the UK and our scene and what we're capable of. And I've had conversations with people in Punjab, artists in Punjab, saying,
But is that because that he was using the UK rappers? So he was almost kind of forced to do that, or was it?
I think it was just he loved the UK, he loved the vibe. Drake as is kind of very voiced his opinion about the UK. And I think now we're seeing a lot of artists, Dilpreet Dillon comes to the UK, shoots music videos here. There's a lot of artists that are coming from Punjab to the UK to shoot videos, because I think people are, even though we're obviously taking ideas from other genres, it's still a UK thing. It's like a UK block video. So now where even Canada are trying to do UK block videos, they're doing it in their own little twist, but we know the inspiration is from the UK. And I think the second point, and it's quite interesting you raised the second point, because it's probably the thing that I've had the most shit about. So in our songs, we talk about guns, we talk about drugs, we talk about girls. We're quite open with it. I have a song, Pachi Pachi Parte Shabida Sir Borde, which is about 25 murder cases on someone's head. When we released that song, we got a lot of love. That's probably the most recognizable song that I've released, but we also got a lot of hate. And I remember once I got a message, it was from some father who said, "You're regarding my kid by releasing songs like this. He's going around the house singing Pachi Pachi Parte and doesn't even understand the meaning." And I was like, nowhere in our songs do we say go out and kill someone. We in our songs, we're just following the trend of what an industry is doing, and B, we're doing what we think sounds good and what we want to put out there and the type of music we've been around. Hip hop rappers, half of these hip hop rappers they don't do what they talk about. You get me? These drill rappers are the same. Why can't we do it? I'm not telling your son to go out there and start shooting up 25 people. But if you really don't like it, why is your son listening to our music then? Like, don't try and push the blame on us. Like, I've genuinely had it a lot of comments that we glorify stuff like this, and it's like, we're not glorifying anything. We're not telling people to go out there and do drugs or whatever. We speak about the things that we have been around. Alright, cool, I've not really been around anyone that's got 25 M cases on their head, but I've been around shotters, people that sell bud, people that sell chitta, people that sell this stuff. We've been around people that have been arrested for different offences, knife offences, gun offences, firearms, stuff like this. What we try and bring into our music are elements of real life. There will not be a song that I have released today that you can listen to it and where I can't provide you evidence of at least one line that we have taken from a real life experience.
But isn't it it's the old age argument that used to happen with American hip hop straight? It's kind of life imitating art and vice versa. And Sid was a really good example of that, of how he sang, and then his violent death was virtually some of the things that he was we were speaking about. There's always that risk then, especially with if a kid, because I kind of understand a little bit what the parent's saying there, and I understand what you're saying as well, but you can't, it's up to the parent then to kind of choose what the kid's listening to.
This is what I mean.
But the parent's not always going to be around what the kid's going to have access to as well at the same point.
I understand that, but the thing is, I don't listen to Sidhu's music and want to go out and kill 15 people.
100%. It's like if you're going to play GTA and you ain't going to go and do, rob a bank.
So it's
I get it.
Like what, like you. I understand you being pressured, like someone being precious about what their child listens to and stuff. But it's like, cool. If you're saying that about our music, then you can't expose them to 90% of the music that's coming out right now, because only 10% of the music is PG family friendly.
But do you think because culturally how we like, and I say we, especially South Asian community, try to have another layer, a filter layer, that an essence of kind of ethics or morals or whatever, how our grandparents and parents live, that this is probably a really good case and example where that filter's actually going. It's in transition of saying it's going to go because we're fully integrated in terms of society, the social issues, the music that's in there. That's where that kind of conversation or that argument comes from.
I think it depends on your background as well. So I'm second generation British born. My parents were both born in the UK. So what my parents deem acceptable is very much morphed from UK society and what the UK deems acceptable and their morals. They still have a traditional element to them. Like I always joke with my parents and say like, you guys should have been born in India because you guys are more militant sometimes than like my friends' parents, and they were born in India. But it's like, there's a lot of leeway there. Like my mum has never ever pulled me up on the things that I make music about, because she understands no one's going to go out there and listen to my song. No one's going to go out there and listen to Pachi Shabbi and shoot up 25 people. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And B, she understands that it's music. Like, it is a form of art. We're not doing anything wrong. We're just I'm releasing what I want to release, what I think sounds good.
Have you ever released a song there where you actually had second thoughts?
Pachi Shabbi.
See, I told you, I always get around it.
So it wasn't second thoughts. I think what it was is never second. I've never regretted a song release, especially if you're talking about the violence. But for Pachi Shabbi, there's a lot of drug talk in that song, and not necessarily it's a bad thing. Oppo, who's a rapper on there, who mainly talks about that stuff, he's a sick rapper. Again, he can only talk about what he knows, the experiences he's come from and stuff. But sometimes I do look at that song and think, yeah, you know what, like maybe we could have toned it back. But then I also look at it as one of the most successful songs I've ever released, and it's like it was so far over the boundary that everyone loved it.
But is that the currency then? Like what I'm saying to you is the currency then becomes the control. Like I experience it in the podcast, for example. There's a very easy temptation for me to create loads of clickbait.
Yeah.
And I know if I go down a certain road, which I vowed that I wouldn't go down. Yeah. I know the podcast could go in one direction, which would be quite very successful for me.
Yeah.
But the risk then is that I know that it wouldn't get other artists on or other, people, guests that I wanted, like from a news background. But that's what I'm saying. It's the currency, isn't it? Yeah. From in an industry, what you need is attention. Yeah. That you get, controversy brings that. But then from the art side, you want to be you've got that other battle of purity in terms of trying to from a value, where I kind of lean into. I think very rarely are you able to kind of get a good marriage in terms between those two parts of it from there. So you either got to sit in kind of one camp, but you may dabble in each other's kind of path. But it's really difficult then to kind of constantly homogenize both of those. Yeah, those bits.
You need to full send it one way.
Yeah.
And I realized that quite early on into the mushy stuff that I started doing.
So when you were working with the artists and go through, I don't tend to go through people's kind of discography because one, the artists themselves know it better than anybody else. Yeah. How would you describe your pathway to get to that point and beyond?
I think it was just natural progression. I think the things I started the music I started making initially was very different to the music I'm making now. But what had happened is, as I was just a bit more experimental every time, and I was pushing the boundary every time. And I think that got me to this place now. And I think it is very much, then I came across, I was like, I just got to full send it one way. And I've had people that have made comments before. I've had like bigger artists, people that are quite relevant in today's day and age, make comments like, this guy only does that kind of thing. But it's like, for me, it's like, at least I ain't sold myself. Like, you man all came into the industry doing one thing and now you man are doing another thing. It's that I'm still true to myself and what I do. And Jaltika, I probably ain't got songs that are hitting millions of streams every day and whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm releasing music that I am happy with. I'm releasing music that follows me, follows my brand. And if you look at my music, it's been a constant development. Whereas like some of these men are releasing one gangster song, one love song, like one house kind of song, one dance song. It's like cool, fair enough, you're trying to diversify, but you're not in the place to chat to me about what I'm doing and that, this guy only does that kind of thing and that's why we're not going to work with him. Because it's like, cool, like I've not sold myself. I'm not trying to find 10 different audiences and be played in 10 different audiences. I'm trying to find one unified audience that will listen to my shit regardless of what I release.
What was the first song that kind of changed the direction where you started to get noticed quite a lot? Because I picked you up when you started doing stuff with Harman at that point.
Yeah.
Was that the...
Yeah, so I had a song called G-Check. G-Check was a Punjabi drill song. Punjabi drill song which featured 2 drill rappers and a Punjabi vocalist from India. I believe that was the first of its kind, especially within the UK scene, especially within drill. From there, I realized, you know what? This was so different. People loved it. Now I need to carry on following this. So I got a lot of attention from there. I got onto the Asian network from there. They absolutely loved it. I got like 1 or 2 shows off the back of it. Started making money. And at that point, I was like, I can make money off this stuff. Because before I wasn't making money off it. Then I met Harman, and I remember when I had the conversation with Harman, I was like, bro, we are going to be so far removed from everyone else that our shit's going to pop. Like from song 1, and the first song we ever released, Sharif, it is my most successful song to date in terms of numbers. So it clearly worked, and from there, we then started garnering a lot of attention to UK-based artists, both from Birmingham, he's from Smethwick, I kind of grew up around Handsworth Road from Great Bar, where we were trying to put Birmingham on the map. If you look at any of my music videos, most of the music videos with Hardman, we shot in Birmingham. We're very much about Birmingham, and from there it kind of started to snowball that people in Birmingham from the city were looking at us like, these men are trying to put the city on. And we don't have anyone like that at the moment. I feel like we still don't really have much talent coming out from Birmingham.
So you'd be working with a lot of other rappers at that point. What was the kind of creative process then? How would it work? Like a typical studio session that you had with Hardman compared to somebody else? How would they differ?
Not a lot, you know. The difference with Hardman was a new artist. Hardman had never stepped foot in the studio when I met him. So Hardman's approach to music recording and everything were kind of things that I had to teach him. Cool, this is how we record. This is my way of recording. And these were things that I'd picked up off people, but I think it's not really very different. The only real difference you kind of find is people's process is a little bit different. I like going into a studio session with my lyrics already done. Like I like to know. And the thing that I found hard was when I started working with rappers who write in the studio. And it's like, I was like, damn, you like slow, like what am I doing? I'm sitting doing nothing in it. I could be eating, I could be doing whatever. Why am I sitting here with you, man? And it was just understanding that people work in different ways. I think that was kind of the hardest part of that. Everyone has their own way of working, and I can't try and change that. Because I'd say to people, like, try and write something before you come. And they'd be like, nah, like, we don't catch a vibe that way. And I'm like, but I'll just sit there doing nothing. And they're like, yeah, but it's just one of them. You just got to do it, innit? And I think that was kind of probably the biggest, not difference, it was the hardest thing for me to get used to, was everyone's different way of working.
So you've worked with a lot of the newer rappers and newer artists that are coming in, but then you've I'm skipping out little bits here because like I'm trying to summarize it as much as I can as well at the same time. But then you get somebody like Ammy. What was that experience like where you've got a kind of, let's say, a veteran who knows how to record, has been in the game, knows about it. What was that experience like?
It was wild. It was so far removed from anything I've ever done, and probably so far removed from anything I will ever do again. I didn't know I was doing an Ammy song. I'm kind of quite closely affiliated with Whitehill India, massive film production company, massive music label. I went out to India. They kind of flew me out to India. They said, we want you to spend 8 weeks over here. We have a couple of projects for you. I thought, I'll go out there.
How did Whitehill get in contact with you first then? Like what was it, what caught their attention to say, like, we need to get this guy in?
I think it was so, there's a guy I know, Manjot Bajwa, very, very instrumental to my career to the point where I'm standing today. I owe a lot to him. He was in with Whitehill. He's based here in the UK. He started to establish something called Whitehill UK, which was, Whitehill have worked a lot with Punjab artists, but now they were really trying to branch out. They realized the UK was up and coming. We had the rise of kind of a few artists here in the UK. So his task was, right, cool, identify who is popping, who makes good music, and have a conversation with them. Me and him met the day that I released my Sharif song, the first song with Hardman. We met and we instantly just like clicked. Like a friendship was formed. I told him, oh yeah, this would be sick to do with Whitehill, whatever. He sent a few of my demos off, never heard anything back. Me and him had this relationship where we carried on talking. We became really, really good friends. Whitehill was not even a thing at this point, until suddenly he called me the day before and he said, the owner of Whitehill's here and he wants to meet you. Get to London tomorrow, 11 a.m. You're going to show him all your music. Went to London, met Sunny Baji, who's one of the co-owners of Whitehill, and showed him my music. And he was like, yeah, I like this stuff. I really love it. Give me your number. I'll get in contact with you. Never got in contact with me. A month passed, 2 months passed, 3 months passed, 6 months passed. And I wasn't pissed off. I was really like, fuck, man, like, that was my opportunity right there. And the whole time, Majority just kept saying, he said, you know what, like that interaction wouldn't have happened for nothing. Just trust me. And I was like, nah, bro, what the fuck do you know, man? Like, nah, I've missed it. I've blown my chance. Till suddenly, where I go to India and Sunny Paji, somehow, he doesn't follow me on Instagram or whatever. Sunny Paji reaches out to Manjot. Yo, Young's in India. My office is in Chandigarh. Tell him tomorrow he needs to come and meet me. Went to the Whitehill office on this day. I'm like, starstruck. I'm like, wow, like this is Whitehill. Like you guys have done Diljit films, Ammy films. Sat down in a room with him and he put a deal on the table for me that was, I couldn't refuse. And in that was pretty much, he showed me my plan to where I'm trying to get to on the table without me telling him what I'm trying to do. Like he showed me the vision pretty much of how we're going to get there. And the one thing he says is, I ask you trust me blindly. Trust him blindly. The day before I signed my contract, so I had a contract with them and everything just to make sure everything's fine.
So you're signing a contract, you have no idea what's in this contract?
No, obviously I know what's in the contract.
No, that's what I mean, like you sign it blindly. Like.
Yeah, you kind of trust him blindly, but it's not a contract as in they own me or whatever. It's very much a contract of my obligations to them, their obligations to me, and how we're going to get to this joint part together and where we're trying to get to, because the vision is a lot bigger than what we're working on. It's like a 5-year plan. And that's not to say I can still do my own thing. I'm still independent by every right. But it's very much, right, cool, how are we going to work together and do this? And it was pretty much the day before signing that contract, I quit my job. I'd been working for 7 years. I had a very good job, very well-paid job in marketing. And I was like, you know what? Like, if I don't full send this now, I will regret this decision for the rest of my life. Quit my job the next day, signed the contract. 4 weeks later, flew out to India for 8 weeks. Got told, yeah, there's a few projects. Got this song. Lyrics were Ardini Tikkadi. I was like, yeah, you know what, there's a good vibe to it. Duet song. I said, what's the plan with it? Oh, nothing. They just said some random guy sent to us, we want to see what we can make. Made it. They said, yeah, send us an instrumental. We might do something with it. Sent the instrumental. 2 months, heard nothing. Got a call. I remembered it so vividly. I was washing my car outside. Got a call on the drive. Yo, check your inbox. Open my inbox. There was nothing on there. There was 2 unnamed files. It was just called Untitled 1, Untitled 2. Open the first one. It's just me and Akhtar, Kirlez Akhtar's sister, her vocal. I was like, oh, cool, yeah, they've probably got a small artist. Open the second one. I'm like, hang on a minute, this guy sounds like Ammy Virk. I was like, nah, this ain't him. Heard it again. I was like, it's Ammy Virk. Called him back, like, yo, is this Ammy? I'm like, yeah, this is Ammy. I was like, yeah, you might have smashed it with this one. So from there, that was just a guide vocal. From there started the process of, right, cool, you're now working with Ammy. What are you going to provide? What are you doing now? For this song, and how are you going to make it the best song that you've ever done? And it just went from there. Ammy's team of the way that they look at songs is very different to the way that Banda looks at songs.
Why? What's the key thing? What's the secret when they look at?
They're like picking out things that I can't even hear in the mix, like things that you would not know if you're not a producer. They're picking out and telling me, yo, that snare pattern, we don't like that snare pattern, even though it's like a back snare, it's not even the main one, or like, yo, that little. The mandolin tanak you've got in there, I've got like 4 mandolin tonics. Is that particular mandolin tonic there? Nah, you know what? Change this.
Was that Ammy himself, or was that
It was his team. It was his team. But these were all Sxngh that came from Ammy. Ammy was in the middle of shooting a film, the film that this song came out on. But I knew that he was very instrumental in having these conversations. But when you're at that point, no artist ever really talks directly to. When you're kind of working on films and stuff like that, there's a process. You have to go through the production company. You go through people, and it was just I was finding this out. But then through conversation with Ammy afterwards, like direct conversation, I was just kind of able to find out that he just has his ear. You know, like when you're so used to what you're doing in your craft, you can just pick out anything. And even just like little things in his vocal that were just like, yeah, you know what, I want this, I want that, I want that. And it's just like so crazy because the arm bunda will never be able to pick it up. If I go meet someone tomorrow who I've worked with in the past, they won't be able to pick up some of the things that this guy can pick up in his music. And it was very much, it taught me how to listen to music with a second ear. He listened to music as a listener, not as an artist. And after that, I started picking that up of, right, cool, how do I become a listener of my music instead of listening with a production head? And then the quality of my music just changed quite instantly because of that.
So you were the UK's first producer to work with Ammy and have a commercial release.
Ammy has never worked confirmed by him. Never had a commercial released song by a UK-based music producer in the past.
Did you think you got the recognition you deserve for that?
Fuck no. Hell no did I get the recognition deserved for that. And it pissed me the fuck off. And what pissed me off the most was we have people that try and say, oh yeah, we're putting the UK on the map kind of thing. We're big about UK talent. And it's like, why is this not getting picked up? Like, I've got amazing relationships with broadcasters like BritAsia, amazing relationships with Asian Network. But my frustration at the time was, why is this song not getting picked up as such a huge deal? Because this is coming out of the UK at a time where UK music, this is at a time where Canada had the jaw on Punjabi music. Kind of Canadian producers had the jaw. It's like, you have a UK homegrown, born and bred in Birmingham producer that has just released a song with arguably the second biggest film star of all time after Diljit. And it's like, you are not realizing what's at play here. And it's like, the more you begin to shout about things, the more you start to realize the Bund in the industry aren't your Bund. The Bund you thought were your Bund aren't your Bund. Because like, hang on a minute, I'm getting more shares on a song that I have with someone who's not known than you man are doing on Ammy. And it's like, why? Like, then you start to realize people aren't happy when you're making big moves. They're happy when you're making small moves because it's like, oh, this guy ain't growing. He's only growing a little bit. And suddenly overnight, I'm getting an Ammy. It was the most tight-lipped thing I've ever kept, that I've got a song with Ammy Verk. No one outside my immediate family knew that I had a song with him. So it's like, instantly overnight, I make the biggest move of my career to try and put the UK on the map, to put Birmingham on the map. And you are now all in so much jealousy that you guys ain't even sharing the song. And it's like, Asian Network and BritAsia can only do so much to support it. But when the own bunda from the industry aren't doing enough, it's like what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like,
but okay, you've come from a street background. You know, like the people where you hang around with. Like, why did you expect any bigger from the industry when you know that it's like that out there as well at the same time?
Because everyone in the industry is guppy about, oh, we're about the UK, we're going to put the UK on the map, everyone stick together and all that. And it's like, all right, cool, come on, man, like, it's time now, innit? Put your money where your mouth is. Like, you've got someone who's new in the industry, 2 years in the industry, or 3 years in the industry, who has just released an Ammy Verk song. Like, I should be getting fucking producers coming to me like, yo, bro, you smashed it, innit? Like, why is this not happening? Why is it the second someone makes a little bit of a movement, and it happens every time with whatever.
But were you, like, I'm just playing devil advocate on this part, like, were you doing the same when they were releasing this stuff?
Bro, I've reached out privately to any producer that has made a big move in the industry that I've considered big, and I've even publicly, like, put it on my story and stuff. Like, I'm for that. I don't care about, I'm all about putting Birmingham on the map, putting the UK on the map. Like, it's why I try and rep it in everything that I do. I rep Birmingham in my music videos. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of where I'm from. I'm proud that I'm a second generation British born that is still able to do this for the culture. So and the thing that annoys me is like it's just a pattern that you see across any new producer that is doing well. The Siani in the industry, the Prani in the industry are going to do their best to dub that person down so he feels as if he has not achieved anything because they want to feel as if they're important. Like, bro, your time has gone, man. Like, I appreciate you made sick music, but your time has gone. You can't still keep living off the bangers that you were releasing 10, 20 years ago because it's not that summer anymore. Now, the 16 to 18 to 25-year-olds are listening to my type of music, not your type of music. So it's like, either you can sit there in your house and you can be pissed off that, oh, how dare he make a tune with Ammy Vert, or you can be like, fuck, this kid's come into the industry 2 years and he's done a tune with Ammy Vert. That's such a big deal. Like, we should celebrate this. And I feel like any artist or any producer that has worked with anyone who is considered big in this day and age would have a similar story to tell. So it's just one of them.
I could just feel obviously the not pain. I'd say probably the hurt, the disappointment.
It's disappointment not because it's me. It's disappointment because it's you're not. At the end of the day, people whoever you are in the industry, someone has bigged you up in the past. Someone has been the reason for your success. If you look at this whole dynasty of UK artists in the past, they are all linked to one another in some way or another because they all supported each other. Where would Jazzy be without Shinda? Where would Shinda be without Jazzy? You know, like even that whole dynasty of like, you look at bringing people like Popsy, you bring in like all these kind of people that all work together to collectively get to one place. And it's like, where is that now? So what, we're making different types of music and your time's gone and you can't necessarily make music in today's genre or whatever. But like, bro, like, why are you trying to hate on me for it? I'm a kid that's just trying to fulfill my dreams, my birthday suppone. When I was around Jazzy B as a kid, thinking, yo, this guy's a superstar, man. It will, like, mera din kade hoga that I'll get to work with a superstar. I'm just that kid trying to get my dreams fulfilled, innit? And it's like, you might have just shitting all over it right now because you're jealous over what? Go out there, make the moves, get a tune with Ammy, innit? No one's stopping you.
But how did you get past that? Because then obviously there's a point where you can just keep dwelling on it, and you can short circuit yourself, isn't it? It's like the disappointment. You know, because I know a few people who've been in a very similar situation, and when they've had a particular a brilliant project that they think will do brilliant, or it actually does brilliant, it just doesn't get the momentum that it should deserve around it. And for some people, it's the end. They just like forget about it. What made you then to kind of think, right, I've got to push on? Did it spur you on more, or did you just kind of like, was there a lull in saying like, I can't?
Feed off jealousy, man. Like, you don't understand.
You get jealous of people.
No, I feed off people being jealous of me. Like, I don't get jealous of people. Like, don't get me wrong. There's things I look at like, yo, that's sick. I wish I could do it. But like, I feed off people being jealous of me. I feed off people hating on me. Like, if I know someone's unfollowed me on Instagram, like, I'm gonna make a move that pisses you off even more.
You know, it's quite interesting what you say about, you know, from a social media point of view, who follows you and you know, that spurs you on. Because genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I don't know who follows me.
Yeah.
Right. And I've interviewed a fair, you know, popular people. And if they follow me, I follow them. Yeah. I genuinely haven't got the time to see whether have they unfollowed me for this, or are they done for that? Let alone for it to act as motivation around it.
It's not necessarily the unfollowing, it's more, so I don't sit there, bro, and check, who's unfollowed me, who's followed me. Sometimes you just get to know it. And it's more of just knowing if someone's jealous of me, and just knowing that, right, cool, you've made this comment or you've said this. Like, bro, you know the Punjabi industry, man, it's so small. Like, I say a gal to you today, it's gonna come around and God's gonna come back to me by tomorrow.
Bro, I can guarantee you, I've said this many times. If I ever release the director's cuts of these, right, it causes absolute chaos.
This is what I mean.
But if I do that, you'd lose the kind of the trust that you get. Yeah. You know, because it doesn't go anywhere. Like,
but it's hard to come by in the industry. Trust is like.
Oh, it is, but because it's become I think for two reasons. There's never been as much money available in the industry as there is now. Look what Karan's doing at this moment in time. Filling out stadiums, smashing it, you know, taking up levels every year on year, going up. We got Diljit. Diljit is on another planet.
Yeah.
Like, Karan and him are just gone.
Yeah.
You know, they're unreachable. And then you've got a bunch of other artists looking at them saying, you know, I've got a tour coming up here, or I've got a tour coming up there. Like, people are expecting us to operate on that level.
Yeah.
So there's automatically that kind of intimidation comes in. If you're working with a particular artist and you've got somebody on follows them, that might be the way of them trying to protect themselves or saying, look, I can't handle this stuff. Not maybe from a jealousy point of view, but to kind of protect their own work.
Nah, man, it's fake. Like,
You ain't having that, are you?
the prime example.
No, it's fine. I'm trying to just put it across from that way.
I'm not having it on the basis that a prime example of this is I posted a picture with Diljit. We worked on Jack and Juliet 3. Massive thing for me.
Let's get on to that then.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's perfect timing for us to do that. So we were having a conversation. We were supposed to do this probably 6 months ago. Yeah. And I remember having a really good conversation, and you were going off to India at that point. And then you said, I can't tell you what it is, but it's going to be a mad one.
Yeah.
And you were going to be over there New Year. I can't remember exactly the timings of it. But the next time I saw you, and then you posted the picture of, and I was like, you and Diljit, I was like, bloody hell, this geezer's actually, he's done it.
Yeah.
He's, fair play. He's got it from there. So how does the journey get to that point?
Graft, man. Like, graft and putting yourself in the right places, networking with the right people, and keeping yourself to yourself. Like,
was that a music stuff, or was it kind of more the video?
It was more so, as I come from a background of production, video production. So that was me fulfilling my shunk in filming production. So I went in as a production supervisor, and my kind of job was to make sure the day-to-day running of this film carries on running in the day-to-day. And there's quite a big responsibility for someone that I've not really worked in kind of films in that capacity before. I've worked on films in a music capacity. It's quite a big thing, but it's also, it felt like home to me. It's like, this is video, man. Like, this is my bread and butter. This is what I'm used to. This is the background I'm from. I've been waiting for this day for so long, because it wasn't a Yxng Sxngh. That was like me personal Sxngh. It was like, damn, like, this is big, man. And me doing that, and I can't talk too much about it, but me doing that has now put me in a place where, like, things are popping off for Yxng Sxngh off the back of it, because I put myself in a place where it's like, right, cool, I don't get fed off this musically, but this is a Sxngh, man. Like, I'm gonna get to work on the films there. I'm gonna get paid really good for it. I'm gonna get my name at the end of a film. I meet every day. I meet Diljit, and I get to speak to Diljit.
What was your relationship like with him?
Diljit is he's a very reserved person on set. Again, when you're working with, like, he's superstar level. When you he's like, there is no one bigger in my mind that I could meet than Diljit, because of the level of he is, my love for Punjabi music. I even think, like, if I met Drake tomorrow, it wouldn't make much of an impact than how I felt meeting Diljit for the first time. And I think going into that, you realize the situation you're in, where you're at, and realize your do's and don'ts. So I always made sure I kept boundaries with what I'm doing. I don't want to be that guy that can't know Diljit and who the hell is this guy getting involved in my business? But the relationship we had when we did have a chance to speak, again, I'm a sponge. So I'd spend a lot of time with Diljit and his team, but I'd absorb what he's like. I'd absorb how is he in a room. And I'd notice he's not the loudest person in the room. He's not the most vocal person in the room. He sits there and he'll speak if he needs to speak. And other than that, he'll just observe what's going on. And realizing that very much changed my mindset. And I said this to Manjul too, kind of the White Hill UK, worked on the film, got me onto the film. I said, like, ever since I did that film, my attitude switched. Like, I spent a month in Bristol filming with these guys, day in, day out, around, like, the biggest superstar. And it's like, suddenly you just realize, it's like an awakening of, what I'm doing is wrong. I used to be vocal. I used to call people out on my social media. Like, I used to be like, I was a terror on, like, I was always looking for beef. I was always looking, how can I do my own bomb, self-charai and stuff like that. And something clicked in me watching the G's for 30 days straight. I was like, like, shit, man, like, this guy's different, innit? And if I'm trying to be that, if I'm trying to be 10% of the Bunda he is and have 10% of that success, I've got to change the way I'm thinking. Because I'm doing something wrong here clearly because I'm trying to get to there, but I'm not there. I'm not even close. Like he's all gear jockey all the way over there, and I'm like a gear jockey all the way at the back. He's at the end of the marathon. I'm at the start. So it's just that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, he won't remember, but I've met him a couple of times, and what you're saying is exactly what I experienced. That he every day he's getting up at a certain time, and he's locked in.
Yeah.
And he's learning from 7 a.m., 6 a.m. all the way until he goes to sleep. He's watching, he's understanding. He's like that sponge that's just taking everything in. And, you know, he hasn't fluked his way. No. I think what he does brilliantly is that he's got the kind of act of like, oh, I don't know how I got here, and it's just there. But behind it is such a driven individual that I think that if a lot of people saw that, it would change a lot of people's perspective in terms of like the work ethic.
Yeah.
The work ethic supersedes anything else that he's doing within it.
Yeah, and I think people look at it and it's exactly like what you said. Because he plays down his success so much and how he got there, people don't realise the graft he's been putting in. Like, yeah, brother's selling out stadiums now, but like when he was releasing songs and they were flopping back in the day, But
he's also got the marketing stuff. Like whenever anything's about to simmer up, or you know anything in the news or whatever, he does another move.
Yeah,
you know, something else. He's always kind of planning of what he needs to go and pushing himself, and you know it'd be amazing to see what the tour actually does on this bit, because I've got very high hopes in terms of what the production will look like and things like this, because like he's been hanging around with like Ed Sheeran and things like that. I've said that quite before, but then. When, you know, like there's also that other side where you're there for a film production kind of thing. I would be like walking by accidentally leaving some beats out and playing them in my but next to his trailer and say, oh, I don't know what happened. Were you tempted at that point to say?
You know what? I thought this, and I thought I really wanted Diljit one day to ask me what I did. That was the time I was going to bring it in, but unless that question was asked, I was not going to say it. And I thought about this before the film when I knew I was going to do the film. He's going to ask. And then on the first day, when George goes up to him and says, yeah, by the way, this is the production supervisor. I was like, bro, he's never going to ask me what I do now. He knows what I do. And then the George's intro was, yeah, he also does a bit of music. And I was like, that's it. He's going to know. Like, he ain't going to come to me now. He ain't going to ask. But you know what it is, bro? Again, it goes to the Bund that I'm trying to be. And I don't want it to be that Diljit looks like to Diljit that I'm trying to attract a fed off him, that I'm not doing the film for the right intentions. I want him to look at me and be like, yeah, you know what, that Bunda did his job the best he could do, and his job was a production supervisor. His job was not a music director or whatever. If I thought there was a possibility of getting a Diljit song on the biggest film of all time, highest grossing Punjabi film of all time, best believe I was going to try and get it. He's not the person to make that decision. And I'm not trying to do Badnami to my rep or my name, because tomorrow Sonny Baji, the owner of Whitehill, is going to say to me like, bro, you were sniffing around. Why are you sniffing around Diljit so much? You're here to do a job. Yeah. You're here on a film. So my thing was...
But isn't there... So, okay. Like, I come from what you're saying, that kind of background. I honestly do. But then when you see some people with it, where you see, especially on kind of social media, where they've got one chance and opportunity and they just go out and say, and it works out for them as well.
Yeah.
That's the fine balance that you got to get through, from either not being a beg.
Yeah.
And you're there to do your gum at the same time.
It depends where you are in life, though. If I had nothing going for me, I would consider it.
What was the reaction then online when you were putting it?
Reaction online? Jealousy, bro. Jealousy. I don't know, man. I feel like I ruined everyone's day that day. Everyone in the industry, I ruined their day.
I think it was New Year's Eve you put that up.
New Year's Eve, yeah, with the caption Diljit Dosanjh completed it. So on Christmas, it was strategic. Christmas Day, I put up a list of all my accomplishments that year and left that one out purposely. Then on New Year's Eve, I was like, you know, I'm going to piss everyone off, because I knew the reaction was going to be, and I was like, let me ruin everyone's New Year.
So, but this character of the troll thing, that's more kind of, that's not necessarily you, that's just knowing how to play the market game.
Marketing, innit? Like, bro, if I want, it's like you said earlier that you don't go for clickbait, I go for clickbait. Yeah. Like, it's
there's a few in this one.
Yeah. And it's, so, I mean, going on to the reaction, I had there were a particular amount of people that had reached out to me in the past that had said, bro, you're smashing it. We support you fully, from the UK industry. We fully support you. Carry on killing it. Do great things. We wish that you can help take us up. And it came to the day I'd released the Diljit picture. Didn't think anything of it. Few days later, like 4 or 5 days later, I thought someone's name popped up in it. And for some reason, I just had an inkling in my head. I was like, yo, like, I wonder if this guy still follows me. I click his profile, go to following. Now I'm not in there. I was like, yo. I was thinking, shit, have I said something wrong to him? And then I thought, nah, I've not done anything wrong or whatever. And then I'm scratching my head and it's like this person he's been linked to Diljit in the past. And it's like, why are you, like, how does this work? I don't understand. Like, you meet me when we're out, like, we're in the middle of a club and you come up to me and say, I'm loving everything that you're doing and whatever, or you're smashing it, you're killing it. To now, I've made the biggest move in my career. And 3 months earlier, you're in my DMs hyping me up, saying, oh, if you ever need any help, let me know. And now you're unfollowing me because I've released a picture with Diljit. And it's so funny because at the time I knew what I was doing. I knew I never had a song with Diljit. Everyone assumed I had a song with Diljit. No one knew I was going to be a production supervisor because I never made it obvious. So I was like, Jal, let me get the merch in everyone's eyes now a little bit. Like, oh my God, Yxng Sxngh's got he's done Ammy work, he's got a Diljit song coming. I thought, yeah, you know, I'll play it. I thought July tak people will realise what my role was on the film. Even a month before the film, people messaged me, yo, when's your Diljit song coming out? I'd ignore the message because it's like, I ain't got no Diljit song, bro, yet. Well, I ain't got no Diljit song on the film, I should say. But it's just one of them, Hannah, of like, don't support me. Like, why are you being fake? Like, I made the biggest move in my career. Why aren't you in my DM saying, bro, you fucking smashed it, you did. Like, you're killing it, man. Like, how did you get to there? Not even how did you get to there. Bro, well done. Or even like the post in it. Like, you didn't like the post and you even followed me.
I feel pretty stressed from listening to this stuff and that, but do you think that you'd probably, when do you feel that you will move away from having external referencing or that adulation for you to just to concentrate on your bit? Because it's what I'm saying there in the nicest way, that you're very calculated in your approach and how you're doing stuff, but that's just based on reaction. But when do you think you're just going to do stuff for you and just be happy with it from there? Because I know
I do things for me.
I know your latest release, for example, so with your EP.
Yeah.
I didn't get any of that. From what you were saying of that calculation, that felt like a bit more of a passion project within it.
Everything I do is passion project. It's like I don't make moves. I don't go work with Diljit because I want to piss everyone off. I do everything because I want to do it. What I do is I'm strategic about how I announce these things. I'm strategic about how I play these things. I'm strategic about what leads up to this stuff. So it's not like, oh, I'm trying to piss Flan off, so I'm going to go do a Jot and Juliet film. That's for me, bro. Like, I'm going to get paid off. It's going to put roti on my table. But it's like, right, cool. How do I now market myself in the best possible way? How do I feed off this negative energy that people are kind of pushing my way? How do I feed off it? Because at the end of the day, I can either sit there reading through my comments of hate or reading or hearing about what people are saying about me behind my back. This guy don't produce his own music. This guy does this guy don't that. His music video, all this.
So do you get that accusation in terms of like where?
All the time.
What the ghost production? You don't write your own lyrics and stuff like that.
I've got a ghost producer that I don't produce any of my own stuff. To which my reply is, if you want to believe that, that's fine. But my reply is, and it depends on which side you're. I don't believe in ghost production where you just tell Flan to make your song and he makes it. I believe in a way, and this is how a lot of big artists, a lot of big producers work. I believe in a way that if someone can do something better than me, I am going to use him in my project. Spacey can do things better than me. I will use him in my project. There are instrumentalists that can do a better job than me. I will use them. There are engineers that can do a better job at engineering than me. There's people that can play.
So there's different layers of ghost production. It's not as a simple label as
ghost production, but what I get involved in is not ghost production. Is what the industry labels ghost production. I have this say on how my music goes. But if I know Flana can make a better sample than I can make it, best believe I'm gonna use him. My job is to make the best music that is possibly available to me. And if you pull up a Drake song and look at how many co-producers are on a Drake song. You've got their main guy, and I'm their main guy, but who I decide to subcontract my work to, because they can do a better job at me, is what I would do.
So you're seeing stuff more kind of strategic, like an operational lead in terms of to get it done.
Yeah, it's like, right, cool, how can we make the best possible project with all the resources that I have available to me? A carpenter uses tools. You get me? Like, you get a builder at your house, he ain't gonna do everything.
Is that the same from when you going into like your lyrics and stuff and that as well?
So lyrics, yeah, 100%, I'll be open with it. Lyrics, I've had, so the debut song that I wrote was on my EP, the debut song on my EP, Black. The day I wrote that, I sent it to GS Nomip India. I said, bro, these are my lyrics here. Can you critique it to a level where you can tell me what's good and what's not? He came back to me and said, bro, this line don't make sense, this line don't make sense, this line don't make sense. Go change it. Go in there, changed it, sent it back to him, bro, what do you think now? Because he is a better lyricist than I am. He can give me pointers on how to improve my craft. And there's one song on the EP that I co-wrote, it's called What About Me? I co-wrote that with a lyricist called Desi Hip Hop. He's a lyricist that I've been working with. He's wrote a lot of the songs for me, and I co-wrote it with him because, again, he put a verse in that song that I could never have thought of. And it's like, right, there's no shadam in it. Like, what's the shadam in it? So if you want to say to Kalnu that I don't make my own music, that's fine. Like, A, that's stemming from, obviously, your potential place that you're jealous that I can make a product better than you can make it, maybe. B, I've got no shadam in saying that I use different people. Have a look at the credits of my EP and I've put my engineer's name in there. What bunda, what producer in today's day and age will credit their engineer? I don't think there's a lot of bunda that would do it. Because they'll think, oh, it's ghost produce.
Do you think the end user cares?
End user don't care, bro. It's one of them, innit? But it's industry, it's why I don't care. I don't care who's on it. I've got a song on my EP, Spacey's got a half production credit on it because Spacey produced half of it. It's like, I don't care. I do this full time. A, I do this because it's passion. B, I do this I want money in it. I'm trying to feed me, I'm trying to feed my family. I've got other things going on apart from music. So it's like, if I can put a project out there and I know it's going to get me hundreds of thousands of streams and I'm going to be good for the rest of the year financially, I'm going to do it. Like, what's it to you? How I made that song or whatever, I've put the money into it. I'm releasing it. Nothing happens to you. You're gonna sleep perfectly fine tonight whether I produced that song or didn't produce that song. You get me? Like, there's nowhere for you to get involved. So, but if you want to throw your accusations at our ghost production safe, and like,
yeah, I got a feeling you like that.
What?
You like the obviously the attention because it's in terms of you know how to use that energy and use it strategically for your marketing stuff.
It's marketing, bro. Like, all of this stuff feeds me. It's like, this today, I told you openly, I said, like, bro, this is marketing for me. Like, this is, right, cool. I know where do I fall within the year? What am I doing? How am I getting my name out there a little bit more? So now I know that your subscribers, anyone watching this that doesn't know who I am, like, I've just, even if it's one banda that tomorrow listens to my music, that's one banda buying into me.
Yeah.
Like, that's the brain, that's the way that I look at all of this. So it's like, when I see little things like people unfollowing me over little things, it's not, I don't crave attention. It spurs me on to keep pushing and keep doing what I'm doing. And you look at things like the EP, and the EP, again, I've received a lot of hate. As much love as I've received for the EP, we've received a lot of hate for the EP because people don't like the fact that a girl is singing these type of songs, especially our lead song, which is a song I wrote. Again, I wrote it because I knew it's going to gain attention. And this is now spurring me on. I keep saying, like, yo, Cushy, we got to release more songs like this, man. Like, I'm getting more hate comments than I've ever got in my life. Yo, let's do another one. Like, that way we'll get double in it. It's one of them of, like, it pushes me to carry on.
It's just the science of the algorithm, isn't it?
Of one of them of, yeah, like, I know I'm doing something good if people are getting pissed off by it.
So what's your future then? What's your future plans then from, I'll say in 3 areas then.
Yeah.
One as a lyricist, one as from a production point of view, and the other one from your music direction and your production.
I think it's all just really working hand in hand right now. Right now, I'm at a point where I think I got like one release for the rest of the year, then I'm done for the rest of the year. I've worked on the EP, spent 6 months on it, probably the most I've ever worked on a project in my life. I've not fallen out of love with music, but right now I'm just trying to pursue other things. I'm trying to make moves. Everyone knows music kamai isn't a kamai. That you can't just rely on royalties and everything, especially when you're at the level that I'm at.
Do you think that's a common thing that when you look at the industry now, especially like I've moved away from talking about there's a UK industry or Canadian one or a one in India. I talk one is like it's one whole big music market now. When you look at it from your observation, what do you see where it's in a healthy space, or do you see is like you're in concern?
It depends. I look at it very different. I look at the industry with industries. I look at UK industry, Canadian industry, North American and Indian industry. The UK industry right now is in decline. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. Even the people that everyone thought was popping and the people that everyone thought was going to stick us on the map just ain't. Whether it's the audience, whether it's song selection, I don't know. I just don't think there's a lot coming out the UK right now as there might have been 2, 3, 4 years ago. COVID was very rife for talent. We had a lot of artists coming up, a lot of artists doing new things, but after COVID, it's just dropped off. Whereas I look at the Canadian industry and it's like, yo, you man are booming right now. Like, even I am moving my efforts more towards Canada. I'm reaching out to a lot more Canadian artists. I'm doing a lot more in that market because it's like, I feel like I've reached a box in the UK. I cannot innovate any more than I have innovated in the UK scene without like, I don't know, I just can't really do anything more because like I'm working with Kushi now, female artist, amazing up and coming UK female artist, born and bred in the UK. That's quite exciting. But the EP, we've done what we can do, and only now we can just follow the blueprint of what we've done. We can't do anything more because we've made some borderline songs in there. Like she's talking about like asking a guy like you got rounds on your chest every day when you're gonna hold hands with me. Like that's like some khatarnak shit for a girl, and like a girl ain't gonna sing about that stuff normally.
Well, definitely.
So it's like we like what else do we go on without them betraying our own values? She has values that she's a role model for a lot of up and coming female artists, and she's a role model for a lot of girls that are growing up right now that are looking at Kushi and be like, yo, like she is a female artist and she has her own values and morals. So we've pretty much got to we've got to the most that we can possibly talk about. So for me, like you said, with a marketing brain, I was looking at like, cool, what's next? What's the next calculated move? And for me, India's all right. I've dabbled in India. I've got a few songs laying there. India mans are just long to work with. So it's like, right, cool. How do we now start working with the Canadian mans and start getting some tunes out with them and start hopefully, again, pushing a UK sound out with Canadian artists?
Okay, bring it to a close here now.
Yeah.
This is the Bandwagon, and every guest that I have on, I ask them the opportunity that, is there a bandwagon they'd like to jump on? Is there a bandwagon they'd like to jump off? Or if they can't come up with anything for them to, is there anything that they want to get off their chest? This is their space to do so.
Nothing I necessarily want to jump on, nothing I want to jump off. The only thing I want to get off my chest is, for anyone that might be watching this that is from the UK industry, stop having this ego, stop having this, like, cool, I'm guilty of it, I've got ego myself in it, but like, just support one another, man. The Canadian scene has reached where it has seen because everyone supported one another. You sitting at home hating on other mans, what they're doing and the moves that they're making because you can't make their moves, just makes you look like it just makes you look like a dickhead. Like you're not looking good in anyone's eyes. No one's gonna look at you and think you're a big man because you're acting like that. You're a big man when you're trying to make cross collabs happen. You're a big man when you're supporting other talent, when you're pushing other talent. The elders in the industry need to start realizing that the newer generation, whether we take permission from them or not, we're gonna break through. We're gonna come and make moves, and we're starting to show that. A lot of the younger producers are starting to come out now. So it's like, just appreciate what you've got. Appreciate that the foundations you guys put into the industry, we are still taking forward. There are still sounds from older artists that are still being used in today's music. Just appreciate that. Be happy for people. Be happy for the new artists that are coming through, and just support, man. What are you gonna get? No one's taking money out your pocket. I'm doing a song tomorrow, like no one's taking money out of your pocket. Just support me on it. Like, it might not be a lot for you to do, but it takes me a long way. It pushes me. It gives me like, yo, I used to respect that bunda, and he's now supporting me. Like, he's sick. Instead of me sitting here like, I spent my childhood listening to you, and like you man are just cussing me out. You man are sitting in a room together cussing me out, and I'm finding out about it. Like, there's nothing there. Just support one another, be happy for one another, and that way the industry will get to the point it needs to be.
Yxng, thank you very much.
No worries.
I really
Thank you for
appreciate it. You know, I can see you as such a driven young man, and I actually like the way how you're, you know, so driven in your aspects in terms of what you're doing. I wish you all the success in the future, man, and really appreciate you taking your time out. It really felt kind of therapeutic for you as well.
I've never spoken. This is the first ever time I've spoken, and genuinely it feels like loads of weight have just been lifted off my shoulders.
No, that's good, and I think it's really important because you have touched on some really interesting bits for people who are just kind of fans of the industry, of just music in mainstream as well, and, you know, an experience of what you're going through now, working with big artists and that. And not everybody wants to go down a music scene or become go down a, you know, a particular way. You know, there's things there's a wider aspects from production of films that people could go down. So I really appreciate you taking the time out, man.
No,
and we'll do it again. I can't wait, man.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
Safe, bro. All the best.
Thank you, bro.
Those